Welcome to the O-Level ICT Seminar 2022. The main goal of this session is to teach about ICT subjects, so it will help you in the upcoming O-Level examination. Today's planned lectures were Dr. Darshana Kasturatna and Mr. Dasun Bamunu. But due to the prevailing situation in the country, Dr. Darshana Kasturatna won't be able to join today's session. So, talking about the lecturer, Mr. Dasun Bamunarachi is a lecturer at University of Colombo School of Computing. He did his bachelor's in information technology at University of Mortua with honors. Then he did his master's at the University of Colombo. So you can learn new things that can be used in the real world and well as the O-Level subject in the paper. So seize this opportunity to get the maximum benefit of this seminar. So I will be handing over to Mr. Dasun, sir.
Thank you, India. Right. So I will first introduce me a little bit, and then we'll go into the discussion of the 2020 paper, basically. So what we planned initially is to discuss about the paper. Okay, so I will give a brief introduction about me. So I entered Royal College from grade 5 scholarship, and I did my O-levels at 11B class. So that is 1998. And then I did my A-levels from 2001 batch actually. I entered the University of Moratuwa, Faculty of IT, and I did the A-levels 2 times. I wanted to discuss a little bit about that. And I passed out and worked in the software industry for almost 10 years. And then I did have a Master of Computer Science from the University of Colombo. In 2019, I joined the academia for a short period at NSPM Green University, and then I joined the University of Colombo School of Computing. Why I wanted to mention about doing the A-levels is actually I was selected for the computer science program at that time, University of Colombo, for my first time. So I would have come to the same position even if I come to the university from the first try. So there was the idea that doing engineering is the best possible thing. So I accepted that and then did the A-levels. Okay. So since I did it that way, I don't want to ask you to consider that option. But I think it is important to realize when you think about your career and your interests. The degrees is something really, it's something that is normal these days. So doing a BSc doesn't give you any advantage. Actually, it is a necessity. But if you can pass out in even in a government university from first class or second class upper, then you can do a lot of interesting either research, or you can go to the industry and do well. But there is a general idea in the society that the engineering and medicine, those are the prominent streams. So those things will, I hope, change in the future, but I welcome you to consider the other streams if you get selected, rather than spending more time in the A-level. You can still go to that option, and maybe you can perform well in the future. I'm just telling these things from my experience. All right, so we can have a discussion maybe after the discussion of the paper. We plan to have Dr. Darshana to introduce you to the new technologies and the trends in the industry as well as in academia. But due to the, as India said, there was a problem which came without our knowledge. So, until right. So let's go to the presentation. I have actually extracted from 2020 paper and we'll be discussing the problems there. I have tried to explain some of the difficult concepts that maybe that you might find important, such as gates and code samples, etc. I'll try to explain other things also to some degree, but I will focus on those areas also. I think at the beginning of the paper, the MCQ questions are easier compared to the ones in the later section. So I hope you can answer these two questions from the just the knowledge from your curriculum. It is asking for the input devices. We have to select the option which has only the input devices. So I think it is easy. One thing you can do is, if you know, and even if you are not sure about the exact answer, you can use the elimination method. So some of the options can be removed easily. Now, for example, if you consider the multimedia projector and the printer, the Mudrayantra, so those two are easily understood as output devices. So you can eliminate 1 and 2 easily. And this third one also has the multimedia projector. So you can eliminate that one. And what is remaining is number 4. I hope that is good. And second one, general knowledge. What are the functions of information system? So it's input, processing, and output. Those 3 are the functions. And the third one, you asked to arrange the measurements of data in the ascending. So it is that one also easier. You can see that first one has the bit as the initial answer. So you can easily go to that option and try to see if all are in the correct order, in the ascending order. So if you can see that, it is easy to find the answer as 1. And the fourth one is also regarding the memory, and it is asking to order the storage mechanisms in the descending order. So according to the storage size, relative size, yes, unfortunately I have prepared this in Sinhala, and some of the questions are from the English version. But if you have the link, India can share the. Someone had shared the English medium paper. So if you can open it from the site, people cannot comprehend similar will be able to follow it. I'm sorry that I created this in the similar version. So the content of the question. Okay. So the fourth one is in the descending order of the size. You have to go to the option in this, the second option, which starts from the hard disk and the RAM and then the register. So it is in the descending order. So the fifth question is the secondary memory. So it is asking whether this first option is even the computer is off, the data is not erased, and the option B is solid state devices can be used for secondary storage. Option C is the secondary memory is part of the CPU memory. Options are A and B. The secondary memory is not a part of the CPU memory, but storage is like hard disk, and also the solid state devices can be used as a secondary memory. So I'm sorry that this the language issue that I didn't anticipate that. But the content and the questions are almost same. If you can follow that the English version, you can you will be able to understand what I say because I explain in English. Right. Then there is another one which is again from the memory that you have to answer. There also you can eliminate the answer A easily. In the first generation computers, the transistors were used. If you remember that the transistors were not used in the first generation because you had valves and other older technologies. So and both B and C are correct. So all the answers with the A you can eliminate, number 1, 2, and 4. So what is remaining is also B and C. But if you remember all the other things, you can. So in that case, in certain instances, you might be able to use the elimination method and land on the correct answer because only there is 4 options. Okay, this is again from the memory you have to answer. I hope you can find out in the textbooks. So it is asking which service that is being given from the Sri Lanka government web portal. So it's G2C service. And the 8th one, also you can use the elimination approach because there is Windows Explorer as an operating system. Windows Explorer is not an operating system, it's an application software. Since if you know that alone, you can eliminate 2, 3, and 4 answers and land on the answer 1, which has Android, Ubuntu, and Windows 10. So all of these are operating systems. Then the 9th one, It's about graphical user and command user interfaces. So the answer C can be eliminated easily. It says the graphical user interfaces are rather command line interfaces are user friendly compared to graphical user interfaces. So it's the opposite. So C can be eliminated easily. And A and B, you have to see whether they are correct, because individual options are also available. So the graphical user interface is required to use the mouse, and VIMP stands for Windows icons, menus, and pointers. The 10th one is about software development. Yes, somebody is asking whether you can get the English medium paper. It's in the WhatsApp group. Please download it from there. I also included some of the questions from that one. I didn't know about this language issue. So you can download it from there and map the question numbers and try to follow it. Okay, the 10th one is about software development methods and the requirement methods. So there are three options, A, B, C, the observations, interviews, and prototyping. All three are possible approaches, right? So you can use observations and interviews with stakeholders, and also you can use prototyping. But it depends on the scenario. But in general, all of these are correct. Okay, the 11th question is about Sdlc, software development life cycle. You have to order the stages of the life cycle in the correct way. So you have to start from, if you just look at the available options, you can start from requirement identification, and then design, and then implementation. And then you have to test, and you have to deploy the software, and then you have to maintain it. So this one is the third one, B, C, A, and so on. So unfortunately, if you only remember the requirement identification as the first one, you have three options, the option 2, option 3, and option 4. So you need to know a couple of other steps as well in order to answer this question. The number 12 is about spreadsheets. Now, if you do the examples in the papers, I recommend you to try out the simple ones with the software itself. There's a question: F4 maintenance as the last step. Yeah, if you remember the maintenance is the last step, then you can go to 3 and 4 options, because both of them have the same one, but you need to know at least 3 of the stages in the correct order, right? So I was talking about the number 12. Always try to open your software if you have one, and try to do it and see whether your answer is correct. Why I ask you to do that is, it's easier to remember things in that manner, and you will be the software development and computer science, I would say, there is a skill part in that, and there is knowledge part in that. So in order to develop the skills and knowledge together, you have to use the software as well as know the theory behind that. So it is easier for you to remember and to apply your knowledge if you have both aspects of this knowledge. So if you answer this one, so what we are going to do is this $1 and $1, $1 plus $1 will be copied to the C1 first, to the C2 and then D1. So it is asking what are the numbers that will be generated in those two cells. So if you copy it to the C2, it will give you 90 because it won't change the reference cells due to this particular syntax. And if you copy it to the D1, it will update these variables, and B and C will be used to calculate the value. So it will be 50 plus 90, and then it will be the second option, 90 and 140. Right. So this is again from the memory. You have to answer this. It has labeled some of the parts of a spreadsheet and asking what are the correct labels for them. So it starts from P, that is the active cell, and then you have three options with the active cell. So 1, 4, 1, 2, and 4 are the possible options here. And if you go to the Q, it is the row indexes. So that also eliminate number 4, and the options are 1 and 2. And the third one is R. It is the column indexes. So the number 2 is the correct one. The number 14, it is again from this particular picture. So if you select this range C2 to E5, what is the selected shape and the number of cells, etc. you have to know. So C2 is the one that is with the R, if you can see that. And then E5 is from this particular point. I have my cursor, show that. So this one and this one, starting from this one. And if you go to C5, it's here. So you select all of these. And so there are 3 rows in the selected part. Is the first option, but it is not true, right? There are 4 of them, not 3. And its shape is a rectangle, that is true. And the number of cells 3 into 4. So that is correct. So B and C are correct. So these two questions. So the first question is from the from textbook, but it has asked a very. It is unfortunate that we couldn't do it as planned. Dr. Darshan had to go early, and hope that his part will be covered some other day, because I think that is important for you as students. If any of you are interested in computer science and information technology and related subjects for your higher education, so he will discuss some of the interesting trends in the software engineering and computer science areas. But we couldn't anticipate the situation in the country. Anyway, so the number 15, the question is from the page 231 in the grade 10 book, according to my copy. So you have to eliminate the option A, but if you didn't carefully read this particular paragraph, your statement is correct. But it's a kind of tricky question. But if you can eliminate them, the first one, you can select the B and C option. So there is a special reference there saying that the overhead projectors can include some of the content on the fly, right? So depending on that statement, you have to eliminate the option A. So it has given the A, B, and C all. If you select that, it will be the wrong answer. Number 16, Microsoft Word and Libreoffice Writer. Okay, so if you have a formatted documents, a collection of formatted documents, in order to take it to a unformatted file, you have to convert it to the text format, right? If you know software such as Notepad and other software that support text extensions, even the Linux versions such as VI, you can save these text files in text-only format. So in order to do that, you have to select the text extension in Windows. So that is the answer here. And the 17th one is on presentation software. Option A says only a single object can have the animation effects, but that is not true. And also you can include the audio recording to a presentation slide, number option B. That is true. Now option C is in one slide you have to reduce the number of text lines less than 10. So B and C are correct. And question 18, what are the advantages of electronic databases? All three are correct, right? Storage required is less than the manual systems, and you can easily get copies. Option B, and you can retrieve information easily. So that is option 4, right? And then you have a question from database tables. You have to carefully answer them from 19 question to 20 first. So the question number 19 is what is the primary key of author book table? So if you take the author book table, you can see there are two foreign keys in that particular table. So you have to combine them and use it as a primary key. So it is author ID and the book ID, right? And then there are three options A, B, and C. Author ID is the author table's foreign key. Is that true? No, the author table does not have a foreign key. So that is not true, right? Book ID is the primary key of the book table. That is correct. Right? So A and C. B and C, is that correct? This is wrong, right? B and C. Author ID is the foreign key. That's not true. Author ID is author books. Yes, author ID is author book tables foreign key. So that is correct. Right? And book ID is the book tables primary key. So B and C are correct. And mathematics with fun, what is the book title Mathematics with Fun? The author of that book. So you have to again refer a couple of tables to answer that one. So Mathematics with Fun is the book ID B01. And if you go to the author book table, you can find the author ID here. And you refer it to the last option. It's Lalit Vijayanayak. Right. Then questions 22 to 23. What is the incorrect statement regarding HTML? HTML refers to hypertext markup language, that is correct. You can create web pages using HTML, that is also correct. HTML tags and web browser, all three options, 1, 2, and 3 are correct. And the fourth option is HTML documents are created using web browser. That is wrong. You don't use the web browser to create a HTML document. You have to use an editor. The purpose of the web browser is to present the web page, right? It will render the web page and present to the user. The 23 numbered list, how to create a numbered list in HTML, what are the tags required? So the correct answer is ordered list and list items in that order. So you create an ordered list tag, and then inside that you have to have the list items. Number 24, what are the correct statements? Option A, when you don't know the respective URL, you need to use a search engine to search information or find information in World Wide Web. That is correct, right? If you don't know the URL, you have to use a search engine. In order to exchange messages between email service provider, SMTP protocol is used. That is correct, right? The option C, the web service provider converts the domain name to IP address. That is not true. The service provider does not do that. It is the DNS service that does that. So only A and B. Then again, it asks what is the incorrect statement? The internet is a network of computer networks. That is correct. The internet with, if you can access through the internet web page, that we call an HTML page, you call it a web page. So that is also correct. Option 3, multimedia content can be included in a web page. That is again correct. But the fourth one, the internet and World Wide Web are the same thing. That is wrong. So World Wide Web is only a service that is running on the web, internet. Sorry. So option 4 is the wrong. So from 26 to some 35, I had to copy from the English medium paper. If I knew that the English medium paper is better for you, I could have done that, but I didn't realize that. So, so some of these will be can easily understand, but others you have to map. So this question is a bit difficult if you do not have a clear idea about these tags that is being used. So in order to create this particular table that is in the right hand side, what are the tags that you have to include in HTML document? So you have to have the table, and it is in all the options. So you can't discriminate anything from that option. And table rows and table data. There and also table header is there. So if you have created the row and include the table header, it will be giving you the headers, name and telephone number. So it is 1 and 2 that is remain. And the table data is there, and from the last two options, you have to break this row to 2 rows. So in order to do that, you have to use the first one. Okay, question number 27 is pretty easy. It's about the correct format of an email address. That I will not try to explain. It's easy. It is the format of the email address in Gmail. All others have certain problems. Like here you have the underscore, and you don't have at symbol in this one, and this one has 2 at symbols. So number 2 is the correct one. Which of the following statements are true? Digital divide separates hardware into 2 categories, analog and digital. That's not true, right? The digital device is something to do with the society. It's not about hardware. Software piracy is copying of computer programs illegally. Yeah, that's true. If you illegally copy a computer software, that is called software piracy. Digital literacy can reduce the digital divide. That is correct, right? So digital divide is when you have people in the society who are computer literate and not computer literate. There is a gap that is created between them. If you have services related to IT and information and communication technology, then there is a certain gap appear with those 2 groups. So if you increase the digital literacy, it can reduce the digital divide. Malicious software. Trojan horse is a form of spyware. That is correct, right? Trojan horses, they are operating in your computer, and it will allow the outside parties to access your information or carry out some malicious activity with your software and hardware. Computer worms can spread by themselves. So that is a form of computer viruses, and it can be spread by themselves. Phishing is a technique of displaying unnecessary messages on the computer screen. That is wrong. So phishing is something else. Okay, so A and B are the only correct answers. Which of the following network topology each computer is exactly connected with two other computers? In which of the following network topology? So what is the network topology? That you have exactly two computers connected to a given computer. That is a ring, right? So if you have a computer in a ring network, you have connected to the right-hand side node and the left-hand side node. So there are exactly two of them. So it's the ring. What is the resolution of an image which is 250 pixels wide and 100 pixels high? So that is easy. It's 250 to 100. Option 3 and option 32. The question 32. Which of the following statements are correct regarding pixels? Pixels are used to measure the physical dimension of a digital image. That's correct, right? You can use pixels to measure the physical size. Number of bits per pixel determine the number of colors in the digital image, right? So if you have many bits, you can display more colors in a given pixel, so it will increase the overall number of colors you can display in an image. Pixels of a digital image are arranged in a three-dimensional array. That is not because you normally arrange it in 2 dimensions, and you have byte representing the colors. So that's why the answer is given as A and B. Which of the following represents the given 4 numbers in ascending order? So you have been given several numbers with different bases. So you have to find the correct order in the ascending order when their values are concerned. Now, for that to happen, you have to see how these numbers, what are the values of these numbers in a selected base, right? So what you can do is you have to convert them to the base that you can easily convert, right? So what you can, so you have to, I don't know if there is a better way to do that, but there's no other way other than converting. So if you have the binary, you can easily convert them to hexadecimal. So if you, I will just give the answer here, but there is an easier way to convert from between the octal, hexadecimal, and binary, so that you can know, and we'll discuss it in a later slide. So what you can do is you can add a couple of more zeros to this one and try to convert to hexadecimal, and then you can see in that. So after doing that, you only have to you can convert 2 to 6 into again to hexadecimal. This one is already in hexadecimal format, and this one you have to convert. So if you do that, you can find the correct answer. Then the Boolean expression, this is not, you have to identify that O gate is there. So, and then here you have an AND gate, and then you have the NOT of Y, and it is again input to a O gate. So X and Y, X dot Y represent this part, and not Y plus X represent this particular part. And you have to again add a plus symbol in order to represent the last gate. So the option is 1. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Which of the following logic circuits has a truth table equivalent to the above logic circuit? So this one also you can use a particular trick, but I'm not sure whether you can you have that in the syllabus. The answer is 1. How it is reached is something like this. Now, if you take this particular gate, which is in the question, this one, you can write it sorry, not A dot B, right? So you can write it that way. Now, if you this dot, right? If you take the first option, you have to write it in this manner. So for the O gate, you have A plus O operation, and not operation with the B. And then you have to see that there is so in order to represent the NOT gate, you have to use another NOT operation on top of this particular expression. So this is the expression that you get from the option 1. Now, if you simplify this, there is a rule called De Morgan's law. You change the change O to the N, and change the individual operations of each of the inputs to the NOT. So if you do that, I'm not sure this is in your syllabus or out of the syllabus, but anyway, I said how I would do this. And then dot due to the changing of this one. And you can again change the NOT of the B, and it will be B. So if you apply the NOT operation 2 times, it will be the original input. So as you can see, this is similar to the given gate. But otherwise, you have to use a truth table and try to figure out. But I'm not sure whether this is in your syllabus or out of syllabus. I couldn't find that exact information. Okay. Okay. Right. So again, we are coming to the Sinhala part. What is the what are the correct statements regarding computer languages? Programming languages. A, Pascal, and C are high-level programming languages. Examples of high-level programming language, that is correct. Option B is also correct. The machine language program can be executed on a computer directly. So you don't need to do any translation. You don't need to compile or anything. You can just execute on a computer. So A and B are correct. We have to check whether C is also correct, because option 4 is about A, B, C, everything. And option C is a program written in assembly language is faster compared to programs written in machine language. This is not correct because the assembly language is just a human readable format of the machine language. So there is no difference between the instructions of either language. There is a straightforward translation from one to one from the assembly language to machine language. So if there is any difference, it is negligible. So A and B are the correct one. What is the output of the following pseudocode? Option. Now in this kind of operation, you have to know how the loop exit condition works. So that is very important. If you get it wrong, you will land on a different answer. So if you have this repeat until construct in a pseudocode, if this last condition is true, it will go out from the loop. Right? So you start from, so you can always create a table and see if you have a complex operation to perform here and have the sum count as the values in but in this particular case you can see that so you don't have to go to that level because the count is 5 at the beginning, and even if you reduce it by 1 in the inside the loop, when you go to this particular statement for the first time, it will be evaluated to true, so it will go out from the loop. So you add before that you add sum to the count multiplied by count, or the square of count. So that is 25, and you reduce the count and you go out because it's already greater than 0, and you print sum. So sum is 25, and the answer is 1. But if you have to update and see what are the numbers of what are the values of each variable, in that case, in order to avoid mistakes, you can have a small table and mark the updates of each variable. But if you can do it just by memorizing, that is good enough. But that requires some practice. Okay, look at the array given here in Pascal language. The length of the array is 8. So it has 8 elements, so the length is 8. M5 is so it is 0 index base 5. It is 60, right? So B is not correct. And M1 plus M2 is 60. So M1 is 20 and M3 is 40. So if you add those two, it is 60. So A and C are the correct ones. Okay. There is a flow chart here. You need to find the output of that. So you can see there is a loop here, and also at the end of the looping, it will print the answer variable. So in this kind of situation, also I recommend you to use a table. If you have to do some problems and see whether you can do it without a table, and you can just memorize the values and do it carefully. So I have developed something to show you the answer each situation. So according to this, you land on the option 1, where the answer is 120. So we have again another pseudocode. The number is a variable that is set to 12, and we have while loop. If the number is greater than 5, it goes inside to the loop. If it is greater than or equal to 10, then it will take the first condition. Otherwise, it will take the second condition. So if you divide it by 2, then it is 6. And again, it is greater than 5. But here it is not greater than 10, so it goes to the else condition. And you add the number 4 there. So it's 10, and then you come to the third round where you check it is greater than 5. And if it is greater than or equal to 10, you check again. It is divided by 2. So the number becomes 5. And what happens is in the next iteration, it is not greater than 5. So it will go up from the while loop and it will print the number 5. So it goes 3 times inside the loop. This one also you can use a table, but if you are capable, you can do it without a table. All right. So these are the answers. I think you already have that one. The answers are correct for both the English medium and Sinhala medium. As I think because how they have formatted the paper, it is obvious. So I would say find the answers if you find anything difficult. First try to answer it yourself, and then try to check the with the official answer. Alright, so that is the end of MCQ part. Okay, shall we start again? So for the part 2, you have some structured questions. I have selected some of the questions. I didn't take everything, so that you can understand some of them easily. But let's go through the ones that I have selected. So the first question is about learning management systems. Some facilities you have to write for learning management systems. Sharing also given as an option. So any 2 of them will get full marks. I hope these are easy to understand. Then you have to fill 2 statements. Desktop computers, the primary storage device is the label A. And then option, the statement B is an example for operating system. Now in the option, statement B, you have been given the system software as the correct answer, because we don't have an example for here, like Ubuntu or Windows or something. But these are similar words. So system software is operating system. And the first one is the random access memory. So that is easy. And this one, you have to convert this octal number to binary, but all the students have got full marks for this, because this number is not an octal number. They have made a mistake in the paper. You can't have 8 in an octal number, so the full marks is awarded. So we'll discuss about converting if it has some other values, say for example 5, 5, 6, 7. That is octal number. We'll discuss in one of the later slides how to convert it easily, the octal number to binary. The character Z has the ASCII code, that is given ASCII code. Then the ASCII code of character X is the question. So if you consider the ASCII codes, they increase with the character W, X, Y, Z, and so on. So if you have this number for Z, you have to go back one by one in order to find the value of X. So in order to do that, you have to consider these last 2 digits. So if you consider only the last 2 digits, and this last position represent 1, second position represent 2, and so on. This one 4, and so on. So if you want to find the smaller value to this one, you can just consider these 2 digits and mark, find the Y value, which is 1. So 0, 1, if you have, is Y. But we want to find X. So if you have to go back one more, and that means you remove this one as well. So it will be 0, 0, 0. Now if you want to go further to W, then you have to consider all 4 digits, right? And so if you consider all 4 digits, this is 4, this is 8, this is 2, this is 1. So this is this part is representing 8, and this part is representing 7. So likewise, you can go back, but we need to find the X value. So that is this second option in the table. Write the truth table for following logic gate. So what you can do is you can expand this gate in order to make it easier. So it has the AND gate and NOT gate connected. And now if you start from A and B, so B is common, A is common here, and A is also common to the other 2 inputs. So what you can do is you can start from the first row. Yeah. So I hope you know how to generate all the combinations of zeros and ones. Right. If you have 4 rows, you can have 0 and 1 alternatively in one of the columns, and 2 zeros and 2 ones in the other column. And in the third column, if you go for a gate with 8 inputs, 3 inputs, then you have to have 8 rows, and you have to include 4 zeros and 4 ones as well. But this has only 2 inputs, so you only need 4 rows. Now, if you input 0, the AND gate here was A0. Now, in that case, you don't have to even consider the option that the input of this particular input, and you can directly find the output of AND gate, which is 0, right? And if you send that through a NOT gate, it will output 1. So you can write 1 directly there. And the second one also, you have 0 in the A. So again, you get the same condition: 0, 0, 0, and when you send it through the NOT gate, it is 1. So you can just write it. You don't have to consider this gate at all in these 2 circumstances. And in the third option, A is 1. So you have to see what is the value of B here. And fortunately, B is 0. So again, you get a 0 here. And here again 1. So the third option is also 1. So remember that you didn't even look for the output of O. So the last one, you put 1 for both options, and you get 1 here, and again here 1, and this one you also have to calculate. B is 1, A is 1, this is 1. So 1 means it is 1, and when you send it to the NOT gate, it will be 0. There is a slight mistake in the answer sheet, I think. The last NOT gate is not added to the expression. It should be something like this. So just check that in the marking scheme, it is, I think, by mistake, or it is omitted. Access methods. What are the access methods represented from these two pictures? A is sequential access, B is random access. In the question B is easy. What is the extension of a PowerPoint file? It's PPT or PPTX. It's about format documents. Let's ask how to format these. What are the commands that you have to use in order to do each of these? So in order to get Mahavali River with bold, T should be the first one, that is bold, and S is the second one where you justify the text. Okay, and you can even have it in the opposite order, S and P, because the order doesn't matter there. Both are correct. And U and V, U means underline. So in this, sorry, U is not underline. U is superscript, which is here. So that is U, and V is the link. So you have converted this to a link. So in order to do that, you have to use V. So U and V, SPUV or PSU. This question is also easy. What are the number of rows and the number of fields and the number of records? So you have 4 fields and 5 records. And what are the number data types of purchase date and quantity? What are the appropriate data types that you have? These are also available in your textbook. Purchase date, you have to have a date of time, and for quantity, you can have a number in database jargon. So it's available in page 277 in your another pseudocode. You have to fill the blanks in the pseudocode according to the given rules. So what it does is it will add the odd numbers of the numbers between 0 and 10. So you have to add 1, 3, 5, and so on up to 9. Okay. So you can have for A, you can have a condition in order to check whether you have reached up to 9. So you can have number less than 10 or less than or equal to 9 as the condition, because you only consider the numbers up to 9. And for the sum, you have to add each of the numbers. So you add sum to the number. When you add sum to the number, it will update the sum with the summation of odd numbers. But you can't increase the num variable one by one. Instead, you have to increase it 2 by 2, because we are only considering the odd numbers. So you increase number by 2 and you add. So for B here, you can have sum and the number. And here you can have 2 and the number. For the condition, there are 2 options. Either one is correct. Either you can have less than or equal to 9 or less than 10. So it won't go more than 9 in that case as well. Then there is another question related to GIMP or software. You need to know about its options here. What is the purpose of each of these tools? So the correct order is B, D, C, and A. This is available in the page 89 of the grade 11. Hope you can check that one, because these are just memorizing. I think I will not try to explain it. For a department local area network, right two advantages of having local area network for a department. And the question B, according to the geographical distribution, write names of two types of computer networks. So you can write any of the following options as advantages. Any two. These two options seems almost identical, but they have given marks for that. So maybe it is given in your textbook, but I feel that this is kind of not a very strong answer. So probably one of them is okay. Anyway, and you can write any of these three, LAN, WAN, or NAN, as two types of computer networks according to distribution of them. Okay. Then there is a question related to computer security. You have to find the correct label from the each of these options. So you have four statements here. Stealing the data stored in a computer, data and information stored in a computer without the knowledge of the owner is the first one. So what is that? It is the stealing of data. Right? So it's this copying and pasting from the internet and using it in a document that is called plagiarism, and it is here. Option B. And using the identity of another person in order to gain monetary advantage, that is identity, right? And using movement without a person's knowledge, that is intellectual property related crime, and this one. So that is, I think, clear. This is also, I think, from the book itself. And, you have to remember, you have to write four options from the ones given here. Then you have to fill each of the blank statements. So you have again given the number of words that represent the words that you need to include in the in these statements. So for option A, the statement A, the answer is password. And for statement B, the answer is for protecting data, it is data backup. This one. And option C, when you have electronic banking systems deceiving the users, that is phishing, right? So it's option C. Option D, in the answer, it has given the virus card, but there is another option given as the firewall. But I think the firewall is not correct here. It is confusing. So it is better to have the virus card. Even though firewall can protect the computer system from outside attacks, but it is not specifically for the computer system. It is mainly for the network protection. So I think it is not correct to have this firewall, but it is given in the answer book I received. So it's better to have the virus card. And the last one is about description of virus. So E is virus. Okay. Again, matching of lists. Option A, internet and the given network. This one works as a security hurdle between the internet and the computer network. So it is the firewall. So, and an example for directed transmission media. We have Wi-Fi is not a directed transmission media. Twisted pair is a directed. Connects two different networks. That is gateway, right? Gateways are used to connect different networks. Used in telephone conversation. So that is a duplex, right? Full duplex. That is the answer. This is again about databases. You have to identify whether these are correct or supervisor ID is a foreign key of supervisor project. If you take supervisor project, supervisor ID is a foreign key. That's true. And project IDs, supervisor projects, the primary key of the supervisor project. No, it is not. You can't use that one as the primary key because there are duplicates anyway. So that is false. Then there are some questions from the those tables. What are the tables that you have to update in order to include these data? You have to put Anga Vijayanaka to the P002 project with allowance of 10,000. So Anga Vijayanaka is here. Project is P002. And you have to have with the allowance of 10,000. So you have to add update this table with this O and P002 as the project ID, and the allowance is 10,000. Okay. Only the table is asked. They don't ask for the exact rows to be updated in. So that's easy. So first one you have to update supervisor project, and second one you have to update supervisor and supervisor project both. Because he's a new supervisor, the designer is not available in the supervisor table. So you have to update both tables. So this one you are asked to find the records to achieve the given requirements. Asur and Raj Selvam to be included as supervisors. So both of them are available in the supervisor table. And, the new project is started with project ID as P006. So you have to update project table for that. You have to also update the supervisor project table with these two records: the supervisor's ID and the project ID and their allowances. And there is particular format is given for this for table name, and make sure that you follow that. Don't write anything else, and also make sure that you write these project table names or table names in the correct manner without doing any spelling mistakes. That is given in the marking scheme, so it's very important. Then you are being asked to write, think about the query that you have to execute in order to find the P001 project. And their department name also you need to find. So you have to have the supervisor table query as well as the supervisor project table query, because in order to find the supervisor project, you have to access this table, who is the supervisor of that particular project, and in order to get his department name, you don't have that information in there, so you have to access supervisor table. Again, the exact spelling is requested by the examiner, so make sure that you don't do any spelling mistakes. Cloud computing. What are the advantages of cloud computing? So there are 3 advantages given here. The reduction of cost, and the maintenance is easier, and updates can be downloaded quickly. This is again label matching. Identifying a computer in the internet uniquely, that is IP address. Connecting one page to another web page, hyperlink, right? Converting a domain name to an IP address, that is DNS. Web service provider and web browser. For communication between these two, one of these is used. So that is HTTP, right? So I skip some of the questions here. The question 4, Roman 4, question 5. What is the function that you should include to find the highest average of the given Excel sheet? There is a Excel example given about cricket scores. you have to use the highest value, find the highest value. So you use the max function, and you have to include two cells in order to specify the range. So H24 is the one that shows the highest average. So you in H24 you have to include equals max H3 to H22. That is the only thing I found you might find difficult, but that is a simple question. Make sure that so I have to have the equal sign. So it is important there also it is given. So don't miss it. Make sure you have equals. So it is given in the instructions, and you have to use the brackets as well and the colon. And there is another question about what is the appropriate chart to express this information. The Tendulkar's summary, and for that the answer given is the pie chart. And for all players, if you want to show their data one after the other, it is a bar chart that is being asked to develop. I think that is. So question 6 is about Sdlc, software development lifecycle. That is, I think, straightforward, so I didn't include it here. This question about the banking system, about online transactions, it asks two inputs for this particular incident or this particular scenario, two inputs, two processing, and two outputs. So it has given certain information here. The inputs will be the count number, amount to be retrieved. Now, in a typical ATM system, you might not need to include the count manually, but it says that you normally have to include this. So because the scenario is given, you can have the count number. So the pin you have to input, and the last OK button press also considered as inputs. Then what are the outputs from the system? The question to input the pin number or prompt input the pin number, and the e-receipt and the form to exchange the money. So these three are given as outputs. So all of these are given in the paragraph, right? So you have to read them and identify what are the inputs, outputs, and processes. The processes might be a bit tricky. Pin validation is a process. Display of information details is identified as a process. Looks like an output also, but it's given in the marking scheme. Generating the receipt is correct. It is also a question about that, because in order to generate a receipt, you have to do some processing. Okay, so those are the answers given there. The next one is a flow chart. Now, this is you have to fill it from the given information. M1, M2, and M3 are the variables, and you have to get the average of that. So here you have to write a certain instruction to add these two numbers and divide it by 3 and assign it to the variable abc. Then here you have to check whether that is equal or greater than 80. If that is so, you can output grade A. Otherwise, you go down. And you since now it is less than 80, you don't have to check that condition. You can check whether it is greater than or equal to 65. Here, greater than or equal to 65, and if it is correct, yes, then you can say grade B. If it is now the remaining one, if it is not equal or greater than 65, then it is less than 65. So you can check whether it is equal or greater than 50. So if that is the case, 50, you can output C, grade C. Otherwise, no grade. And that's the end of this project. The marking scheme has error here. These two have to be altered. It's not you check the same condition here. Here you have checked 65. Here you have to check 50. Okay. So other than that, these are correct. Right. I think this is the last question from the paper. So you have an array, and you need to see what is the process happening in the pseudocode given in the question. So initially, array has all zeros. You have a repeat until structure. So it's very important that you realize that repeat until structure is processed. No, it loops inside the inside this area until this condition is false. So if this condition is true, it will immediately go out. So you have to you initially at the root the value and k is 0. We don't have to write a table here because you don't have to go that far in this loop. So you get A0, this value that is 0. And sorry, when you assign value to A0, value is initially 2, so it will be 2. So this one will become 2 at the beginning. And then k is incremented by 1. Now value is multiplied by 5. Value was 10 at the beginning, so when you multiply it by 5, it will become 10. K is incremented, but k is less than 5, right? K was 0 and k is 1 now. So this condition is satisfied, so it will go out. None of the other array elements will be processed or will be updated. So the answer is 2, 0, 0, 0, 0. So it is easier to write it in this manner with the labels rather than writing a table. All right, so that is the content I wanted to cover from the paper. I think I covered most of it. The other thing I wanted to discuss today is the binary and octal hexadecimal conversion. Some shortcut methods. So if you want to convert from decimal to binary, then you have to do it by continuously dividing from 2. But when you want to consider only the conversion from binary to octal to binary, you can use this easier method. So what you are going to do, if you have a binary number, you divide it into groups of 3. So here, if you take this example, you can see 101 is a group of 3. Here you don't have anything. This is a group of 2. So you can add another 0 here, right? And then you can consider them as the binary representation of numbers from 0 to 7, right? So in octal, if you consider 3 digits of binary number, that can represent the octal value of the respective octal number. So what you do is you identify what is the value here. This is 1. This is 0, 2. This is 4. So 4 plus 1 is 5 in octal. Okay. And then this one again 0 and 2. So it is again 2 from octal. So you can directly write 25 as the octal representation of this number. You don't have to do that. Converting to decimal and coming back to octal. Now then you can use the reverse of that process in order to convert from octal to binary. Each octal digit you divide it into single digits, and if you represent 5 as the number, so in binary you can represent it with 101. So you can directly convert it to a binary equivalent of that particular number, and also for 2 you can convert it to 010. So that will end up with the binary representation of the number. Okay, you can try out a couple of examples for this, and if you want, you can try out it from the other methods. For an example, there are calculators as well, but if you are not comfortable with these numbers, you can try out doing by hand. Then similar approach can be used to convert from binary to hexadecimal. Now for that to happen, you have to create groups of 4 digits, starting from the least significant digit on the right hand side. And if you don't have enough numbers here for the last 4 digits of the hexadecimal number, you can always add additional zeros. And then by doing that, you know what are the decimal numbers, and you can directly convert it to hexadecimal representation. So this one is 1 and 4, so that is 5. 5 is represented in hexadecimal as 5 itself. 1 is represented as 1, so it is 15 x. Or rather 1, 5. And the same approach as octal we can use to convert hex to binary, right? You don't have to do the long division. You have hex, and you consider each number and write the 4-digit binary representation for each of them. So all hex numbers can be represented from 4-digit binary codes. Okay, so a couple of resources that I thought you would find important. So this last section I got from this site. I can share the presentation as well. So that's from my side. So we plan it with Dr. Darshana's content to do it. So I do part of the presentation, and then Dr. Darshana's content for some time and then coming back to my presentation. But unfortunately, we faced this situation in Colombo and couldn't do much. Right, India. Do you have any questions about whatever I discussed today? I hope you could follow it. I hope you guys got something from the my explanations. Hopefully you can perform well in the exam.
Thank you, sir, for doing this session. I think a lot of people got to know what they didn't know, and a lot of them understood and gained some knowledge to write their oral examination. So we will be uploading this to our YouTube channel.
Okay.
And
if you want presentation, I can share it.
Also, if you guys have any questions regarding anything related to the subject, you can drop a message in the WhatsApp group and ask, sir.
Sure. I'll try my best to answer.
Thank you, everyone for joining, and have a nice day and good luck for your O-level examination.